The most glorious legacy in World Cup history was built by their hands. Pelé, Ronaldo Nazario, Ronaldinho, and yet, despite all those legendary names, they haven't touched that trophy since 2002. 24 long years of waiting. This is no longer a simple championship drought. It's a collective burden, a deep and lasting weight carried on the shoulders of an entire generation. That's exactly why Carlo Ancelotti's role here goes far beyond picking a squad or drawing up tactics. His real battle is convincing these players that they can win again, because winning and believing you can win are two entirely different worlds. And to find out whether Brazil can rediscover that belief, you'll need to watch until the very end. Team identity. Brazil steps into this tournament carrying two undeniable truths: a breathtaking pool of talent that pushes every boundary, and an identity crisis that has been eating away at their soul for years. The 7-1 collapse of 2014 still bleeds like an invisible wound in every Brazilian heart. The penalty shootout exit against Croatia in 2022 was salt poured directly into that wound. Before every tournament, the whole world whispered the same words: "This time will be different." But every single time, that cursed quarterfinal door slammed shut in their faces. Then, in the middle of all that darkness, Carlo Ancelotti arrived, and a new dawn began to break. A man who has won every trophy club football has to offer, yet has never felt the unique weight of a World Cup in his hands. Taking charge of Brazil was, for him, an irresistible calling. He made that clear to the world himself, saying it was an opportunity he simply could not turn down, the chance to manage the most successful national team in history. Looking at how Ancelotti has shaped this squad, one vision stands out above everything else, placing a steel spine at the very heart of that dazzling, expressive football. This isn't just a Brazil built to entertain. This is a Brazil built to endure, to stand firm against pain, pressure, and every storm that comes their way. If you're curious about how this new Seleção will write its story, hit that like button and join us on this journey. The squad. Who can we expect? Goalkeepers, the address of trust. Let's start at the back. The man most likely to guard Brazil's goal is the experienced Alisson Becker. He's coming off a difficult season at Liverpool, one disrupted by injuries, but a fully fit Alisson on the World Cup stage brings a completely different kind of confidence to the entire team. And Brazil's fortune doesn't stop there. Sitting on the bench, ready at any moment, is Ederson, another world-class, battle-hardened goalkeeper. In terms of goalkeeping, Brazil's foundations look rock solid. Defensive line, the unbreakable wall. Now let's move to the heart of the defense. The first man tasked with building that fortress in front of goal is Gabriel Magalhães, who has been outstanding at Arsenal. His defensive aggression, combined with his goal threat at set pieces, makes him a player Ancelotti simply cannot afford to leave out. Alongside him, you'll find the most experienced figure in the squad, PSG captain Marquinhos. His leadership and composure will be absolutely central to how this team holds its shape. Beyond those two, the defensive rotation offers genuine quality. Bremer, Roger Ibanez, Leo Pereira, and the experienced Danilo all provide reliable, hard-nosed cover. At fullback, Douglas Santos brings pace and energy on the left, partnered with the reliability of Alexandro. On the right, the standout candidate is Wesley, a 22-year-old who has been turning heads with Roma and widely regarded as the future of Brazil's right flank. EU midfield, strength, dynamism, and magic. This is where Ancelotti's famous steel spine truly takes shape. Sitting deepest in midfield, as dependable as ever, is the experienced Casemiro. Right alongside him, Newcastle United's engine, and one of the most in-form central midfielders of recent times, Bruno Guimaraes, will drive the team in both directions. Their natural backup includes the dynamic Danilo, who has been brilliant at Botafogo, and the reliable Fabinho. Further forward, in that magical number 10 role, two very special players await. First, Lucas Paquetá, back to his best with Flamengo, playing with a joy that echoes his finest years. And then, of course, Neymar. Even if age and injuries have taken their toll, just the mention of his name still sends shivers down opponents' spines. He remains the living legend of this team. This may well be Neymar's final World Cup. Can he bewitch us one last time with his samba? Wingers, the world's most lethal weapons. Here they are, the names that keep opposing coaches awake at night. The most dangerous, most electric, most creative, wide players on the planet. On the left, a high-speed train that simply cannot be stopped. Vinícius Júnior of Real Madrid, a player who has planted himself at the very summit of world football. On the right, Barcelona's matchwinner Raphinha, deadly with his assists and clinical with his finishing, leaving defenses with absolutely no answers. And the depth? Even Brazil's replacements would walk into most international starting 11s. Arsenal's Gabriel Martinelli on the left, the dynamic Luis Henrique from Lyon, and 19-year-old sensation Ryan from Valladolid. Each one capable of coming off the bench and changing the course of a game entirely. Forwards, the goal machines. Finally, the finishers, the men who will write the closing chapters. Leading the line, the front runner for the starting shirt is Matheus Cunha, who has been on fire for Manchester United. His closest rival is Igor Thiago from Brentford, a penalty box predator running hard for a golden boot this season. And then there's Endrick, 19 years old, finding himself at Lyon, a young genius who has the whole world watching, and every reason to believe this could be his moment to become Brazil's new hero. Can this extraordinary squad, assembled by Carlo Ancelotti, finally end a generation's wait and return Brazil to the top of the world? Ski players and the X Factor. Key players, partners at the summit. Brazil's fate in this tournament rests heavily on two pairs of shoulders. The first belongs to Vinícius Júnior. He must be the absolute carrier of this team, its undisputed leader. His club career has reached the very edge of the Ballon d'Or, a performance that almost rewrote the record books. But in a Brazil shirt, that same jaw-dropping consistency hasn't quite translated. Not yet. If Vinícius can break free in this tournament and deliver the football we know he's capable of, he could carry Brazil to the final almost single-handedly. Pressure is in his DNA. The real question is whether that pressure will be his fuel or his anchor over the course of the tournament. On the other side, a quieter leader is rising. Raphinha. The leadership quality and tactical maturity that Barcelona has given him are not just technical advantages for Brazil, they are the key to the team's internal balance. When things get complicated on the pitch, when chaos starts to surface, Raphinha keeps his cool. And at a World Cup, where every moment is a knife edge, that calmness becomes a far more powerful weapon than most people realize. The X Factor. In the shadow of the last dance, Neymar. And then there's the card in Ancelotti's hand that no tactic or physical attribute can explain. Pure talent and pure emotion. Neymar. For him, this tournament is not just a chase for a trophy. It is one final chance to complete an unfinished story, to repay a debt to an entire nation. If Neymar can stay fit and find his form, he will be the hidden weapon that unlocks every deadlock. He won't just be Brazil's X Factor, he will be their soul, their heart, and their leader. Weaknesses and risks. The dark side of the medal. Tactical vulnerability, the black hole behind the fullbacks. No matter how perfect Brazil look on paper, every giant has a weak point, and Brazil's is no exception. The biggest problem is this: when those devastating wide players push high and flood forward, enormous gaps open up behind the fullbacks and in front of the center backs. Ancelotti has been working day and night to fix this since his very first day in charge. But teams that master the counterattack, vertical, direct, and relentless, will ruthlessly exploit those spaces. And Brazil won't have long to wait for that test. Their very first group stage match comes against a team built precisely in that mold, Morocco. If Ancelotti can establish defensive security from the opening game, Brazil could absorb a serious blow before the tournament has barely begun. Tournament scenario and prediction. Is the sixth star within reach? Group stage, comfort on paper, a hidden trap in reality. Brazil find themselves in Group C alongside Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland. On paper, this looks like a perfect opportunity to build momentum and hit full stride before the knockout rounds. But here is the one mistake you must never make at a major tournament: underestimating Morocco. This is a side that has turned compact, defending into an art form, and their counters hit like bullets. That opening match isn't just about 3 points. It will set the tone for Brazil's entire campaign. If Brazil can dismantle Morocco clearly and convincingly, the wave of confidence that follows could turn them into the dominant force of this tournament. The quarterfinal curse and the ultimate test. But as every Brazilian knows, the real exam arrives at the quarterfinal. That same cursed door year after year. Ancelotti's side must be ready for 3 nightmare scenarios at that stage. Deep defensive blocks that sit in and suffocate. Physical, relentless teams that win second balls and grind you down. And those intense, emotionally charged matches where one mistake sends you home. Ancelotti's entire plan is built around having a different key for each of these different locks. A potential quarter-final or semi-final collision with France or Germany will put that plan through its most brutal, most unforgiving test. For Brazil to finally claim that 6th star, 2 conditions must be met simultaneously. First, Vinícius must shed that inconsistent international skin and transform into a relentless, tournament-defining force. Second, Ancelotti must protect the team from reckless, headlong attacking, keeping defensive discipline intact when it matters most. If both of those things happen at the same time, the carnival fires could light up the streets of Rio once more, and that trophy could finally come home after 24 years away. The truth is, Brazil isn't simply chasing a golden trophy at this tournament. They're trying to complete an unfinished, wounded story, one that football itself owes them. Since 2002, how many brilliant generations have come and gone from these shores? How much extraordinary talent has gathered? How many magicians have taken the stage? And yet, that victory, that great trophy, never came. Perhaps what was always missing was never raw talent. Perhaps what was truly missing was a visionary coach. Someone to point all that talent in the right direction and ask the right question at the right moment. So, how far can this Samba army go under Carlo Ancelotti? Will the journey end in heartbreak at the quarterfinals once again? Or will that trophy rise above the streets of Rio for the first time in 24 years? Leave your predictions in the comments below. Let's keep the heart of football beating together. And if you don't want to miss any of these World Cup documentaries or tactical breakdowns, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. See you at the heart of football in the next one.